Oh, Florencia has joined us. Nice to see you.
Hi, everyone.
So Shannon, Christina, I see. Hi, Rita, Patty. I see Tracy. Oh, who else do I see here? Troy. Yes. Roxana. Yeah, we just said hi. Am I missing anyone else? So who's joining? Who's waiting to join? You said.
Trisha Beck.
Okay. 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 So how is everyone feeling since the beginning of our adventure together?
Excited.
Good.
Excited. Okay, since you're already in front of me. Yeah. Who else? Somebody else said something.
Feeling good.
Feeling good? Okay.
Yeah,
A
hopefully.
little more confident.
Yeah.
A lot more confident. Okay.
A little more confident, but I'll take a lot.
A little more confident is already a step, right? So baby steps. Anybody else? Anything you want to share in terms of how you feel since last time?
For me, it's been a roller coaster, and it's really funny. I think what Karen said, that the clients you're seeking are also seeking you. Well, this week I got 2 calls from 2 clients. I totally didn't count with them, and both of them enrolled for one for a shorter program, the second for a longer program. And guess what? They're not CEOs. They're actually members of boards. So Troy, you were mega onto something when you were pointing at that. So it really made me reflect. I spent a lot of time today really thinking about, putting together the ideal offer for the CEO level. But I'm in this place of, where do I want to take it, from my head or from the reality for where the real need shows. So I'm in this place of, I don't know if it's confusion. It's more like, sitting with what is.
Yes,
Great.
but that happens though. And it has happened to me as well. So it happens to many people. But what I would say is maybe it's not an absolute, either or. It doesn't have to be either from your head or reality led. You just need to reflect on it, see what, metabolize everything.
Yeah.
And you will come to what makes sense and in a way fulfills all of you.
Yeah. God
Just
bless.
like stress is not, you don't have to have at this particular moment all things figured out. It takes time, and it would take time after the 1 month together. I'm in a year plus, what is it, 3 months now. We're finishing March. And like I told you a couple of weeks before our previous session, I did yet another like narrower view of my niche. And I shared, and I really, it is an act of courage to kind of take those steps with the niche. It's not a small thing. It's not something we do mechanistically. It's something we kind of need the confidence. We build it. We need to learn it. Like take one step, take another step, and you get to where you're at your best, at your element. That's the process as I've experienced it. So you're not alone.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
You were asking me with my ideal client, you were asking me for to quantify the intangible results. I'm not sure if I can. I answered your question. It was a 2-part question. I answered one part. The second part, I'm not sure how to figure that out. I don't know where to go for research. I guess I'm just going to have to keep looking.
Like motivation, and I remember our discussion online, but it was not losing sleep, not feeling stressed, those kind of things, right?
And like saving more money for the the intangible results are saving time, saving money, saving money for vacations and relaxation and all that. I don't know where I would find those statistics.
Well, it's not statistics in this case, and you're at the right place because it's through market research conversations. Yeah, seriously. It's not something that's on average every one of your clients would want to, spend X amount of dollars for vacation. You just ask your clients and they will tell you.
Okay.
So Google is powerful, but more powerful is the client themselves.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
So, yeah. And that goes for everything. We always trust what comes out of the client's mouth. That's why we spend time, we hang out with them. And we are, these conversations, which is the topic of today, it's everything we think and we know from experience, from history, before speaking with the client. It's valid, but it's only hypothesis.
Oh.
Because you need to confirm, you need to check it with your ideal clients through conversations to prove or disprove, or they might say something that you missed, or something might have gone up in the level of importance for them. Or you, as you have, grown in your business and everything you do, you might pick something that, you didn't evaluate enough in the past, or you didn't know what to do with in the past. So everything we have, they're data to use, but we never consider anything true unless we verify through the client's feedback. And the tool we have to do this verification is what Karen has described as market research conversations. So the way I would and that's how I would introduce really this hour today. I am at this point where I consider the conversation the most important thing, because every single moment, whatever question I have in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I need to ask someone, I need to get their position on it, and I find a way, an excuse, a reason. Sometimes it's very direct. Sometimes I might call them for something different, but I need to speak with some ideal clients on it just to check. So I never do anything without checking. Yeah, that's how powerful it is. So we as coaches, we can actually do ourselves a favor and remove that pressure and responsibility from our shoulders to have all the answers in our heads. We don't have to have that. Of course, we want to have the experience, but we trust that the client knows best. And as long as we do the job, reach out and speak, hang out. That's how I would consider it, hanging out with your clients. Everything, like Agatha Christie said, the truth unveils itself in front of you once you collect all the data, and the data comes from the client.
Perfect.
Okie dokes. Anything else before we look at the actual conversations themselves and introduce the topic? Florencia, did you have a chance to listen to the recording yet, or?
Not yet. I have seen a lot of these guys' presentations, and I have to say, I think they have a lot of meat around it. So, and probably this session today is going to be a clarifier for many of the guys attending, and for me as well, because the more you listen to how this works, the more you learn, because the first time you listen, but it's not easy to then replicate. So that's why I'm here to listen again, to see what I can catch that is in a way different or has a different nuance than what I have caught the first time. So I'm here to use Vivian's brain to my benefit.
but we take small steps, so it's fine. I mean, it's I have never met anybody who just flicks a switch and kind of overnight gets everything sorted. So, okay, great. So maybe we can start and the topic, all of our hour today is the research conversations, the powerful tool. So let me just share my screen. And of course, everything is better because Tiffany is here. So I'm already feeling calm and confident because of Tiffany, and thanking you, Tiffany, once more for being together in this. Makes a big, big difference. Let me just, so again, they are Karen's slides, so they're not my slides. And you paid a compliment the other, on our first session about the slides, you like them, but just to clarify, they're all Karen's work. I'm just happy that they work so well. Before we go into the specifics of market research conversations, one point to highlight: Karen is scheduled to be with you on your final presentation, of your irresistible offer. So just be a little bit patient, and you'll get a chance to get her feedback on anything you want. There's a moment in the process for that. Market research conversations. So we saw that last week, the structure of our time together. You've already started working on your power of one, how to identify one ideal client, their one biggest challenge right now, their one super hot desired result, and your one irresistible offer. So you did your first draft of that one main offer. So now we will look at the market research conversations, and a quick reminder on one of Karen's signature themes, which is to be a lighthouse for your clients, to be so clear in the kind of message you give to the world that your clients see you and they come to you. So you don't have to go out chasing clients and doing, traditional hard and salesy stuff that a lot of clients detest with a vengeance. We're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to be so clear about what we stand for, like we act as a lighthouse. And we do that. It's a quick reminder of the power of one here. So we know exactly what's on our client's mind. We know who that ideal client is. We describe them. We don't just in general say, oh, my ideal client is such and such. We have a lot of descriptors, and we can tell in a crowd who's that ideal client. And of course, we have confirmed that they are in a position to pay. That's part of the criteria we have. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have, okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you. I heard a strange nothingness there for a moment. Okay, so yeah, like being in space on my own. So the second point is, we get so much into our clients' hearts and minds, in their world, that we understand both emotionally what happens in their world, as well as what happens in their minds logically. So we understand the challenges because it's a challenge that a whole person has. So we understand the ideal client as a whole person faced with that big challenge right now. That intimate knowledge, because remember, your ideal client is a reflection of you most of the time. So you want to show that you understand the challenges so well, so that you create this immediate connection. They feel that you're the person for them. You deeply, deeply understand what they're going through with their challenge. Like we said on point number 3, we really want to help our clients see the situation as it is. And that involves not just us understanding their challenge, but actually helping our clients hear themselves understand what the return on investment is, what life would look like for them if they decide to take an option, the option to work with you. since you're the perfect match for them. That's where we want to get to. We don't force anyone. We don't use fear-mongering techniques, but we want to unveil the return on investment in a tangible and intangible way, so that the desired result becomes irresistible, a no-brainer kind of thing. You know, you might have heard Karen quoted. I was discussing with an ideal client. It was a bad example of a conversation. I was too scared at the time, and I thought that the amount of money was like $50,000-$60,000 for a program. I thought it was like too high, because I wasn't, you know, used to charging that kind of amount of money. And as I was discussing, and you know, I kind of started inquiring about the ROI and the challenge. And I said, hey, Steve, like, what's it costing you? Like, what is your financial situation in the business? What will it look like if you address this issue? And he thought for a little bit, and he had to think about the numbers. And he said, we're going to be saving about $300,000 per month. So can you imagine, like my 50 or 60K, which I was so nervous about proposing because it sounded big. Suddenly, when you put it in the context of what they were wasting, like throwing in the trash can month after month, was a drop in the ocean. So that's the kind of ROI we want our clients to see, right? Because if you don't look at return on their investment, which includes understanding their challenge, all they're going to look at in terms of what you stand for is a cost. So you want to relate cost with benefit, and that's what ROI does. And of course, the last thing is we package everything together in one irresistible offer that is a no-brainer, and our ideal clients, they thank God that you exist and you have that offer for them. You are the answer to their prayers. That's the way to look at it. That's the truly irresistible offer. So market research conversations, like I said, it's a tool, the most important tool we have to connect ourselves with our client, the ideal client, and what goes on in their world. If we don't talk with our clients in an inquisitive way, we are trapped and we're doing only what we think is what they need. And that's pushing solutions to them. Most of the time that doesn't work. So we want to have this natural link with our client, and that's the market research conversation. The conversation is a means for us to learn. It's not a means for us to propose solutions. We're going to come back to this, but just make a quick note of it, please. Now, Karen says another thing that to me, it has changed my life when I realized it. Karen always says that conversations generate cash. Like, you're not going to get work if you're not in contact with your clients, your ideal clients. So the more you stay close with conversations, the more you understand what goes on in their minds, what's the most pressing problem. You know, you basically, if you haven't done already your power of one, you're getting elements for your power of one. So conversations generate cash. If you're not speaking with them, understanding what they're going through, you know, you're kind of wishing for a miracle in terms of positioning yourself as the best solution out there. So there are different kinds of clients we have. The one is, we use the word client a little bit generically. So first of all, market research conversations, we want to do them only with ideal clients, right? Only with ideal clients or prospective ideal clients. So we don't want to spend time hanging out, being in conversations with people that I am able to serve. I can serve so many people, but I'm not going to spend my time and effort with anybody I can serve. I'm going to focus all my energy through this market research conversation. I want to learn ideal clients, because that's the power of one. Okay, it's about the ideal client you have identified. Now we have, besides the fact that it's only the ideal client, then we need to understand that we might be speaking with a person that has direct authority to, he or she is the potential ideal client for us, which is great, you know, from the horse's mouth. But depending on the world, you know, your ideal clients are in, there may be what we call centers of influence. So for those of you that work with corporations, we discussed the triangular relationship with the sponsor and the coachees. So the sponsor may be what you call a center of influence, a big VP, a director that has visibility over, you know, many business units of the company they're working in. They have visibility and have authority and decision-making power in a few different business areas in the world. I would call them a center of influence, you know, because they can give you feedback from their point of view as a sponsor / client. Oops, I heard an email sound on my headphones and it almost deafened me. Sorry. So that center of influence, because they play a role in, they are a client in the triangular relationship, you still want to do market research conversations with them. So that's fantastic if you have that kind of a connection. Of course, there are other centers of influence. For example, I have a friend who has been in sales and has worked in some of the biggest, most reputable companies around the world. So even though she's not a VP having direct authority over those businesses, because she knows so many people there, I consider her a center of influence. And I say, hey, Di, this is what I'm doing. Who do you think I should speak with? Or like from what you've seen in the company, you know, I do the script of market research conversation with her as well. Okay. So don't think only in a narrow way, your coachee. Think about the universe in the client's world that can help you with learning. That's what market research conversations are about, learning. So far, everyone following? Give me an audio, please, to know what's going on. Yes, thank you, Patty. Oh, there's a heart there. Thank you. I like the heart. So conversations generate cash. We only spend our time with ideal clients. It's pointless to collect feedback from just people that can become clients. And we look at client in the broad sense. It might be directly the coachee. It might be some center of influence that can connect us in one way or another with the right coachees. Oops. So why do we bother? Why spend time doing market research conversations? Now, there are time savings benefits, like Karen says clearly in the title. I'm sure you have either experienced on your own or know other coaches that are spending so much time and they're making a real effort with their marketing presence without ending up having clients. I can think of at least 5 coach friends of mine that from my coaching school and from work that are in that situation. Now that is a symptom very much from not connecting yourself to your client's world through a market research conversation. So you spend time forever and ever, and you get nothing. So you shrink, you collapse the timeline when you connect quickly with your ideal client. Now, specifically, you want, if I were to give it a title, is you want to hear from your ideal client's mouth what exactly they expect from your offer so that it's irresistible. That's, you want them to tell you everything around that. You don't want to be the one telling the client what's great for them. I mean, you know your stuff, you know your tools, you know, you have your toolbox of assessments and exercise, you have all of that. But you want the client to tell you what they're dying to have in some form of program to solve their one biggest challenge. You want them to tell you that. And then all you have to do is pick your Lego bricks from your toolbox and offer it to them. So the client knows, and they're the only one that can tell you what they expect from your offer to be considered irresistible. We don't take that responsibility, and we don't offend our client by thinking we know better. The second point is a very practical one, which has helped me personally a lot. As you speak with your clients in those conversations, you really, besides the factual, information you get, you really want to capture the language they use. Okay, so you don't want to you don't want to rephrase what they say to make it more proper, more correct. So if your clients say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you shouldn't go and correct their grammar and write, if it's not broken, don't fix it. If that's the catchphrase they use in their world, that's what you need to use when you communicate online. Because that's one of the most powerful ways to leverage market research conversations, is that you learn all these wonderful things from your ideal client, and then you use them in your marketing material. Whatever is the most popular things you hear from your ideal clients, you make posts on LinkedIn, on Facebook, wherever your clients are. I have, for me, this is one of the best things in market research conversations. When my ideal client said, well, they said at some point in the market research conversation that, oh yeah, my goal, I really want to have, my people to be more engaged at work. And I said, what does it look like? Like what's engagement for you? And he said, you cannot tell people what to do. You need to get them on the journey with you. They need to want to come on the journey with you, something like that. So I took that phrase. I mean, I heard it in variations from other ideal clients as well. So you copy paste, you use the exact phrases that your ideal clients use, because that's what's going to make them identify themselves in your marketing material. Are you all grasping how important this is, how powerful your marketing can be when you use your clients' words? It's like you become a magic picture where when your ideal clients look on that picture, they see themselves because they recognize their language. Like, hey, someone understands us. This person really gets me. It's not like findacoach.com. It's the right person for me, and I don't care where they're located. I want to speak with them. That's the result you want to create. Am I going too fast, or in terms of speed? Are you okay? Okay. So we want to leverage what we learn. We don't want the concepts only. We want the language. That is key. And of course, we have ideas about how we want to price our programs, our irresistible offer. But again, we ask the client for that. We're going to go through the individual questions in a moment. So all of what I'm discussing now, we're going to see it in action. But the point is, we ask the client to describe to us what is a reasonable price for what content, right? We don't try to guess any of that. And the other thing is, and I can say that I have benefited from this. It has provided me, that's the third point there. I feel that understanding how market research conversations work, and after going over this fear of, of having them, which was for a few months in the beginning, I actually find it's a very nice way to, you know, without having any heaviness, it's a very easy way to have a meaningful conversation. So for me, it has helped me very much to be to the point without, you know, without sounding like a machine, without interrogating anyone. And the client feels very comfortable with this. So it has a soft side, which is very, very good and works both ways. And as you're in conversations with ideal clients, one of the things you need to do before you hang up with them is to ask the magic question. Who else do you think I should speak to about this? You know, you need to ask your client for any pointers, any referrals, because every ideal client is a center of influence by definition because of all their network. So we try to leverage everything from that moment with the client. We don't want just the information. We want the information, the language, the pricing, and the referral opportunity. Okay, so far, anything to? So there is a method to the madness. This is like, how do we go about doing market research conversations? What I can say in terms of sharing my experience, the biggest issue I was faced with in the beginning was, okay, who can I talk to? I knew who my ideal client was, the qualities and qualifications. It wasn't that, but who are these people? Do I know enough of these people? That's the sort of problem many of us have in the beginning. But the answer to that, as Karen shows on this slide, is to be systematic. Somebody wants to ask a question, or is it the high five?
No, Vivian.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I have a really large network, but what I don't know is who is experiencing having a dysfunctional team. And so I'm struggling some and would welcome your insight on, because I'm not sure who to have these market research conversations with, because I'm not sure who's experiencing currently a dysfunctional team.
Okay. So first of all, it's great that you have a lot of people that have the other characteristics of your ideal client. Am I understanding right? That
Yes.
you don't know about the challenge. Okay. So again, this is a classic application of conversation. The first thing to ask is, who is confirmed that has a dysfunctional team, that has the challenge? So if you know one, if you know two, if you know 5 people that fit the bill in all of your power of one, start with them. Don't wait until you go through and scan all of your network. Being on the phone with one person is better than spending contacts on LinkedIn, for example, because the one that is actually your ideal client, you want to go there as quickly as possible. And in that conversation, you will ask, who else do you think I should speak to? And they, for sure, because they talk, people, you know, we're human beings, we talk with each other. They would know other people that have similar issues, and they would probably point you to them, at least 1 or 2. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way is, the idea is not to have analysis paralysis. The idea is to identify, even if it's one person, go and have that conversation with that. Don't wait. We want to go into action. Okay. So the other way to look at this is, you need to look and see, okay, which is the most, again, it has to be an ideal client. So you need to have the best possible, you know, work conditions, the feeling to be good, the energy to match. So you request to have a chat with them, and you don't have to tell them about what you're selling. What your job is to listen to what goes on in their mind, and they will tell you what their priorities are. And even if they don't have a dysfunctional team, you could at some point after your conversation ask them if they know anybody. So even if they're not suffering the challenge themselves, you can still ask the question. So that's how I would go about this. The important thing is one is better than none. So we want to be systematic, but we don't want analysis paralysis. We don't want to spend endless amount of time going through a database of 3,000 people. The one person we're on the phone with is a lot more important than scrutinizing 3,000 people and not having spoken with an ideal client. That's very important because that boosts confidence. We learn a lot, and most probably they will recommend somebody to speak with.
Okay, thank you. Viv.
So does that, when you try your conversations, and we'll have that live communication on the Facebook group, let us know how you're getting on and we can continue this.
Thank you.
So one is better than none. Action is what matters, but there is a systematic way to go through your contacts. So as you will see in your playbook, Karen and Tiffany have put a lot of content in terms, like there's a long questionnaire about who to approach, how to think about who you can speak with. Okay, so it's page 19. There is a lot of detailed information about how to think if you kind of do a brainstorming session with yourself. You can look at, where do your kids go play sports, who you were in school with, if you were part of an organization. Like you scan a lot of aspects of a person's life, and you can come up with a lot of names that on first examination, they don't come up for you. But there's also the methodical approach, which is what I had done, and I can tell you my experience. I had gone through, I realized that I have a different contacts list on my phone, on my mobile phone, and a different contacts list on LinkedIn. So I started looking, okay, what's the easiest, I thought, because it was a little bit too much. So I decided to search LinkedIn by company and by title in order to shortlist, because I didn't want to do the paralysis analysis. And I had names. So you need to kind of make some sense out of it. So like Karen says here, you do an ABC analysis. So I said A is super hot. It's like someone I know, I've worked with, we've had great results together. So, you kind of create your criteria for A. So A was like, Vivian, the minute you know this person is A, just go, organize to speak with them. Then I had B for, you can have centers of influence, so people who can connect you. And C, Karen says it can be the unknown, or C could be like someone I've lost contact with and I want to rekindle the relationship before I kind of go back classing them as A, B. So you can find a very simple way, but you just want to shortlist who to spend your immediate time with, because the value is in the action. It's not in the analysis paralysis. I cannot stress this enough. I have a friend who has, because her clients are on LinkedIn as well, she has like this mammoth network, and everything is automated. And I said, but how do you know who's like the hot A, the hottest ideal client, and who's B? How do you know how to prioritize if everything is like treated equally and it's automated? You kind of need to choose where to start from. So the action is what matters. And to know one is better than none. That's all I'm going to say here. So you want to connect definitely the A's and of course the B's, the centers of influence, and set up, part of your work has to be in conversations. So you want to set up a few market research conversations, a couple of them in the next week. Just start practicing. See how you feel speaking with those ideal clients. See what you learn. How does that influence your power of one? You would confirm, like prove or disprove some of your hypotheses that you had prior to those. Okay. My personal experience is that I had to, like I said, to find the courage to be fully, to do all of the market research conversation. There were parts of it that I was very comfortable with and some parts that I wasn't comfortable with. So the more you do, the more you learn and the more comfortable you become doing it. Like we discussed so far, the ultimate thing you try to get is an answer. What's going to make the offer irresistible for you, ideal client? That's the summary, what it comes down to. So what we're trying to do is, like, we're putting in all this effort, creating an offer, you're going to spend time promoting it, promoting yourselves, investing your energy. What will what will move the needle? It has to be an irresistible, a no-brainer. Their prayers are answered kind of response from your client. I would like to go through the questions which exist in your playbook, but if I want to just read them out for you, and I will simultaneously describe how they're used. But the questions I'm going to say are in the playbook. So there's a part, okay, I repeat that the market research conversation is to learn. The purpose is not for you to provide any solutions or answers to the client. And the purpose definitely isn't for you to sell your program. Okay. You want to, after you identify the hottest ideal clients you have, you want to contact them in your usual way. Like, how do you normally contact them? If you email them, use email. If you text them, I have clients who prefer WhatsApp to be texted on that. They told me that's their preferred means of communication. So what is natural in the relationship, in the communication between you and that ideal client? Use that channel of communication. Let me just stop sharing so that we can see each other here. So use the normal channel of communication, and you want only ideal clients. You don't want possible clients, because the data is useless otherwise for what you're looking for. Now, the questions, you need to put them in the context. I'm going to read off the list, but you need to put them in the context in your client's world, and also in your own context. Like, use the language that comes natural to you to express the question. Okay, that's very important. And during this conversation, you need to prepare yourselves. That's what I do every time, to give yourselves the gift of not having the responsibility to provide solutions or answers. You're there to learn. This is so critical. I get asked by clients all the time, halfway, like, what do you think? What do you think I should do? So you need to be mentally prepared and emotionally prepared not to take the bait there, because the pressure is huge. That's how I experienced it in the beginning anyway. So you kind of learn how to manage that. And I prepare myself every time before a conversation. So you want to use, listen deeply, and ask if something, like, what is engagement for you, like I shared in my example. So you're still using your coaching skills. And guess what? Your client is getting a transformation just by having a chat that is there to help you. Okay. We talked about using their words and phrases. So you need to contact them, maybe email them, maybe call them, maybe message them, whatever is normal in your relationship, and say, hey, how's it going? Like, what's the normal language you use? Okay, so you need to be authentic in the request. And you might say, I'm building my business, or I'm focusing my business, and I would really like your help on some marketing information. That phrase, for example, is a phrase I never use because that's not in my nature to speak like that, but it's in the nature of many other coaches. I say that I know you have a lot of experience in such and such area, and because I'm looking at, I want to make sure I respond well to my clients' needs. I really would like you to, would appreciate if you could help me, give me 30 minutes of your time just to hear, what goes on in your mind. So for me, that's more Vivian, but I'm sharing the examples because you have to express it in a way that is natural and authentic. Okay. I don't like to sound like I'm a formal big company asking another company, because that's cold. And in most cases, my clients are a reflection of me. I wouldn't answer to that. I would say I don't have time, honestly. But if it's a personal call, I do have time for personal calls all the time. So think about how the message is received when you get in touch with someone, right? So that's the introduction of how to go about doing it. So there are two parts in the market risk conversation. The one is the more, general one, the first 4 questions. And then it's the more hardcore market research content. So I'm going to go through them. And like I said, they exist on the playbook. So question number 1 is, you break the ice. Hey, how are you doing? Yes. It's been a long time since we last spoke. Yeah, great. How are things? Tell me a little bit about your business. How are things? That would be the first question, right? You try to open it up so that they start giving you some context. Okay. And then in that first part of the market research conversations is a little bit exploring their experience with coaching as well. So the second question is, after they finish blah blah telling you what goes on in their lives, then you gracefully go into the question of coaching. Do they know what coaching is? Like, have you had any experience with coaching? Well, what is your experience with coaching? Would be more open. That is a very important question. 80% of my ideal clients, they think coaching is the on-the-job coaching. They don't understand the difference between professional coaching and mentoring and training and all of that. So I want to understand, because it helps me calibrate the language I use downstream. So
but say that they don't know what coaching means. Then you go into explaining it to them, or you just collect information.
I just collect information. I wouldn't do, unless there's a specific, condition there that justifies it. No, I wouldn't. It's not really the point to. It's not for me to do anything.
Okay.
Yeah. But if they do have experience, they might say, yeah, I had a coach and they were telling me what to do. So you kind of understand what they mean as coaching. And if they actually have had coaching experience, they tend to say it in my, what I have seen. And you kind of say, like, what was like a great experience for you? What was what did you didn't appreciate? Just to get them talking a little bit about themselves and coaching. Then you continue with question number 3. What is the most appealing thing about my offer? So clearly you need to have had an offer out there to ask this question. So you want to ask them, like, what did they love? That's how I don't have an offer advertised. I say what I do, but because we know each other, I do it privately. I don't put all the details. But I ask this question. I don't say what was the most appealing. I like to ask, like, what do you love about working with me, or the work we've done? because that's in my nature to use this phrase. So again, you need to use your own words. So what's the most appealing thing about me and my offer? That's the theme. You want to get them to start telling you what they love. I can share this with you. I thought it's all the technical stuff and like managing factories and all of that they really value, because that's where they gain money. And 9 times out of 10, they tell me they like my energy and how I connect with people. So be open to be surprised. Question number 4. What, if anything, would make you hesitate to refer me to others? Very important question, opening it up. So somebody, for a solopreneur like me, they would say to me, Vivian, this is great working with you, but can you cover like a great volume of managers? We are all over the world, 150 sites. And that is, I mean, I know about it now from market research conversations, and I mention already that I have a network of collaborators. I'm not on my own. So I leverage my network. So I preempt their concern in my marketing communication. But I've learned that through market research conversations. Okay. So what would help? What would make you hesitate? What, if anything, would make you hesitate to hire me? That's another question. They might say, yeah, our biggest need is in China, so we're not really sure if this, back and forth is the best approach right now for us. They might come up with a very practical reason. Or they might say something, again, prepare to be surprised with what you hear. After you speak with a few of these people, your ideal clients, you will start seeing common themes. So in the beginning, it's a little bit like, oh, wow. But little by little, you start seeing families of the most prominent things that are on their minds. And that's what you want to utilize, the common denominator. So those questions were the questions, if you have offers out there and you advertise around coaching this way. And now we're going to the more hardcore part of the market research conversations. You try to understand who is this person in their situation. In the playbook, Troy, page 19. I don't know if it's Troy. Somebody asked Troy. Yes. So
Yeah,
it's in the playbook. Yeah. I'm just reading them because it's the comments. I don't want you to read the questions now. That's why I'm not sharing the screen. I just wanted you to get the feel of it. So then you ask them, what are your goals? You're becoming this super compassionate coach that you are. And say, what are your goals? What's, the year? What do you want to achieve? And they start telling you they're happy to talk about that. And like I said, you are always a coach. You listen deeply and you might ask questions to understand more. Then, for example, Steve told me, that guy that I started earlier, said he wants to create more positivity in the workplace and get the numbers right, but have at least a positive culture with engaged people. And I said, the next question is, what would it mean to you to achieve your goals? So I said, Steve, okay, so if you got that, at the end of the year, a positive, what would it mean? What would it mean to you? And he said, I would be happy to come to work. I wouldn't loathe the moment coming to work because everyone would be like looking down and being negative and having like an unpleasant experience every day. And then the other question is, what does an ideal state, a dream come true scenario look for you? Of course, in relation to their goals, right? So I said to that guy, Steve, so Steve, what would, like, if you could have anything, what would life look like for you if you met your goals? And he told me, oh, people would treat the business assets, the business stuff, as if they were their own and they wouldn't waste them. They would take care of them and not make scrap because they would know it's material in the trash. And they would care about the numbers because they would care about the client. So he started describing a whole movie, basically, of what he expected, that dream come true scenario. That's what you want. And of course, that gives you an opportunity to ask a few more questions as coaches. And it's what would it mean and what would it feel, not just the mind, the emotional world as well. And then you ask the other classic coaching question. You say, right, that's great. You know, you acknowledge. And you say, how would you know that you've achieved this goal, though? What would need to happen to give you the signal that, yes, you have achieved this dream come true scenario? What would be the change perhaps in the behaviors, in the performance numbers? You know, you open it up and they might say, I don't know, what do you mean? And you might say, oh, would you expect your people to do something different or to think differently? And then your client picks up and they start telling you how they would know. And then you ask the question, so where are you today versus your goal? Because they might have already done something. In my experience, most of my clients have contacted some sort of consultancy firm to kind of do some collaboration with them, a partial collaboration. So you want to discuss a little bit that, understand, and have your client hear this as well, what they've done. Because if they've hired another firm, you might say, okay, right, what challenges? That's the next question. What challenges have you been facing so far? What has been in the way? And they might say, my clients say that, you know, we've spent so much money and we still don't have the numbers, the result. So that's very important for you. More important, to have your client hear themselves say it. It becomes real for them. Okay? Because you might say, like, okay, how much money really? I mean, you say a lot of money, like, how much money have you spent on this? Oh, wow, you can. So you want your client to understand the situation they're in by hearing themselves. You know, it shouldn't be you telling them. So I'll give you an example. I asked another client there recently, like, what have you done? What challenges? And it was time, and it took too much time. And I said, how much time? I mean, we spoke a few months back. How much time is too much time to do whatever they wanted to do? And he said, well, it was from January until December. So 12 months. Yes. So it took us 12 months to blah, blah, to develop like like not a difficult thing. And when he heard that, he heard himself that it wasn't just the work they do, but they had spent 12 months. I mean, 12 months, it's a crime to like not have any results in 12 months. But he needed, that was the moment where something happened in his head. So you want your clients to hear themselves say what goes on, not just you get the learning, they need to. So question 12, what's it costing you today not moving towards your goal? Classic question, right? So they will say, yeah, I'm not, you know, like Deb says, her ideal client, I'm not sleeping at night, etc., etc. So you want your client to hear themselves say what's at stake for them and what is costing them. And then you say, if I were able to help you achieve your dream, what price range would be acceptable to you? So this is very important. You're not selling anything. You're just asking an open question. Second key point here, you're not asking them to tell you what price they would be prepared to pay. You're asking them what price range. Range is always easier for people. That's the first reason. And it gives you more space to maneuver. So never ask for a price, always ask for a price range. And then you go to the big question to close the conversation and say, like, if you could have a customized program, especially for you, to help you with your goal, blah, blah, whatever they told you so far, what would you expect to have included in it? What do you want to have addressed in this program that would meet all your requirements at the price range you just said and covering everything he told or she told you so far? and they start telling you because they're in the zone. Okay. So do you get the idea of how you build the market research conversation? It's all coaching questions. You never tell anything. Clients ask me all that, well, that's my experience. They say, oh, I don't know if you agree or not, and blah, blah, blah. And I say, well, it's not a question about whether I agree or not. I'm just here to listen to what is on your mind. Or at some point they would say, I don't know, what do you do with your other clients? And you have to be prepared to kind of dispel this. And I say, well, really, the moment is for you. So I mean, I'm quite keen to hear what you have to say here, what goes on for you. So you should never get the bait and try to be the person that is there to find solutions for them. That is a definite no-no. And you need to kind of prepare yourselves, do whatever you have to do, but that's the role you need to find. Like a coach, what do you do when you coach? That's the mindset you need to have there. And at the end of it, they have been listened to, they feel great. Most of the times, nobody bothered to ask them these questions, so it's a revelation for them, and they've already had the transformation and they feel connected with you because you're a person that they can speak with. Automatically, you're at a different league regarding your relationship with them. So that's what the market research conversations are about. You have a script, you need to personalize it and just go for it and try to find what works best for you. With the key points that we mentioned, never provide answers, always price range. It's always the client that knows best, and you test your hypothesis. Any questions? I want you to get the spirit. It's not the questions themselves, it's the spirit and how in reality you need to kind of adapt. That's what I want you to understand. The rest, you will go off and have some assignment work to do. Let's say to do market research conversations, to practice, both for your power of one, but also to break the ice and start practicing market research conversations. See how you like it. And we have the Monday Q&A. See, anything surprised you? Anything you want to adjust in your power of one, perhaps? Or any fantastic confirmation and you say, yeah, I was on the right track. Great. I see yes.
How much time would you recommend us for this type of conversations? Are we talking about 25, 30 minutes, 45? What's your experience?
Yes. So the recommendation has to do with the ability to get answers as well as you want to get an appointment in the ideal client's calendar. So we cannot be idealistic in terms of, yeah. So 30 minutes, many cases works.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, for me, it's not enough though. So my personal expertise is that I am between 45 minutes and an hour.
Yeah.
But I have to say that the clients, well, I asked the appointment in the beginning, I was asking for 30 minutes and they themselves were saying, could we stay a little bit longer? So when I saw that they wanted more time, I started putting it to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But many coaches do it with 30 minutes. So I'm not the most representative there.
No, I feel that with 12 questions, I mean, I have a lot of experience with interviewing people, and I feel that 45 minutes for the structure that you just shared with us would be just on the edge. Yeah. Thank you.
You have to, yeah, it has to be meaningful and respectful and create value. So you find what the right balance is. Anything else before we close our session today? Because I see people are, well, we have exceeded the time, so people are having follow-up appointments. Anything else which you would like to ask as a quick question? Go and schedule then market research. Let me just exit this. Go and schedule, you probably have already scheduled market research conversations, and practice it as quickly as possible. The only way to kind of make it real is to do it. So at least one market research conversation. The more you do, the better positioned you're going to be, and see how you feel.
Vivian, are you available for giving us feedback to the list of questions if we put them in the Facebook group?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it?
I am, but it's more limited. I am available, of course, but all I would say is that you know better because you know your ideal client. So I would provide feedback, of course, but knowing that I don't know your ideal client, just take it with that filter in mind.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
Was it hand raising or bye-bye, Florencia? Bye-bye, yes. So let's keep in touch on Facebook and take it from there. And happy marketing conversations, everyone. I have one tomorrow.
Best
Okay. Take care and we'll be in touch. Bye.
luck. Bye.